Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta. This is Lessons. Here to watch, I think, episode 4 of SDF Macross. First thing though, we got some comments. First up, we got Warlord BK from the episode of Macross Zero, the star of the surface. This girl is from a very isolated and backwards culture without much in the way of science or technology, except whatever happens to cross their path, and yet she gave a description of what a double helix DNA looks like, and there is a religious precept about it. My first thought would be cultural contamination, going back at least a few generations. So how/why does the anthropologist there not think twice about it?
I mean, first of all, scientists are always not properly used in most, even in sci-fi, right? And that people assume that scientists are just there to info dump, and so they are just the voice of whatever the writer wants to tell. But yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed it in the episode that technology comes and goes, right? They already had satellite TV. They already had an old, they had lights, and they had their own diesel generators. It's not like they had no concept of technology. It's just that they had, again, like the commenter say, whatever happens to get to the shores, and people would go out to the cities and not come back. So I
My
think about
only
this.
concern there, that literally that last thing you just said, is I don't remember what episode she says that in. So this commenter is responding to only episodes 1 and 2. So I don't remember what episode she says everybody that knows how to use it has already been taken off for the war
I
or
think it's
has gone
episode
to the
3. Yeah,
cities. So I
yeah. It's
can't
a
remember.
later. I think episode 2 ends with the lights going on up
I
because
don't think
Chin
so.
Chin oh, a little later than that, because she accuses him of taking out the stars and all that.
I want to
But
say
there's a shot.
episode
Yeah.
2 is their level of interaction is when he's carving the sticks
Oh
underneath the
yeah,
house with her.
and shoves it in her face, and he takes the
No,
stick
no,
and
that
then
you're
try
talking about
to.
episode 1. I'm talking about
Yeah,
when he find out that she's carving a bunch of sticks for all the boys so that they can do the stick shoving thing.
yeah.
See, I
But
don't, I don't, I don't attribute a lot of memory to when things happened. I'm just doing my best to remember that they did happen.
yeah. No, I think there's a point, either episode 2, episode 3, where she says, yeah, no, it's episode 2 actually ends with her singing, because episode 3 literally picks up where she's singing, and then they drop the bomb in
I,
episode 3 and they do all that. Yeah, yeah,
no, you're one off. I think you're one off because they dropped the bomb in episode 4 at the very end of episode
yeah,
4, and then we time jump at the startup to episode 5
yeah.
to where it's all the fires are already out. I want to say that the lights come on at the end of episode 3. I'm only thinking this now because how I did the thumbnails for the videos that I think that I used the picture of Sarah walking up on Shin in the dark before he turns it on the episode 3 thumbnail, if I'm correct. Sorry, I know I used one of them where she was singing them. I don't know. I don't know.
Although, going back to the statement, I mean, cross cultural contamination. I mean, at what point would a scientist arriving or somebody having the description would be woven into their religious beliefs, right? I mean, somebody has a science book that describes a double helix, and they're like, "Oh, wow, this is so magical that we must make it part of our religion." It doesn't seem to work that way, at least not with them, right? Um,
It's hard to tell, especially with what we know is to come after that episode, especially literally the scientist who goes there and just fucks with them. So,
yeah. Yeah, but again, I don't think even the scientists kind of tricked her and like, oh, we're about to show, you show me about this because this is magical and special, and manipulate her into doing that. But at no point I don't think he mentions the double helix. It doesn't show him the book that he has or anything like that.
Right,
So
right. Well, he had more conversations than we actually saw because he knew about
yeah,
her dad and what her dad would think about certain things, and we don't know when her dad died either. So just like
you know.
he was around for a while.
And apparently, we get the feeling that the dad was like the chieftain, or the head religious person. That's what she took the role, right? Like she inherited it apparently from her dad, because the way he is, he seems always dressed in this sort of traditional clothing and all
Also, he
that.
taught
So
her like the traditional languages.
yeah, and the song and whatnot. So yeah.
All right. Next comment, Fail Fisher. Same episode, obviously.
Hmm?
Aside from the Maya civilization, for me something else comes to mind when I hear Mayan in Macross Zero. In the Philippines, there are birds that we call as Maya. It's likely just a coincidence, but it helps in reminding me of the bird connection.
Could be. Um, Although I would have to ask, is that Asmaya is a Spanish word or a Filipino word? Well, actually, the language is not Filipino. I'm sure it's Tagalog. I believe that's how it's pronounced. If it isn't, I apologize. Um, because ironically, talking about the cross cultural contamination, the Spanish controlled the Philippines for about 150 to 200 years. And so that's one of the reasons why Filipinos, a lot of them have Spanish last names, even though they don't speak Spanish anymore. Spanish is not a language that's spoken in the Philippines. People might speak English, might Tagalog, or other languages, but many, because it's a very large archipelago, I should say. But even then, I think that's not. I mean, yeah, I don't see that as something that the writers could have picked up along with. It's like, oh, this is like a cool idea, so let's just use it. You never know.
I mean, I can't speak to the language thing, obviously. I only know 1.25 languages. The multiple years I studied German and still can't speak it. But, yeah, our friend here, Fail Fisher, I know is from the Philippines because they're constantly talking about the history of shows in the Philippines.
Yeah.
But I did look up the Maya bird because they dropped a link in the Discord about it as well. I thought it was also interesting among the variant or the variations of the Maya because it's not actually one specific type of bird. It seems to be like the name for a bird that a number of bird breeds are part of, and they
The
have
species. Yeah.
specific names for them that translate to like the deaf Maya, the church Maya, and there was a third one I cannot remember the name of. I just thought it was funny. You have this church bird, basically,
Mm.
it would be representative of this whole religious aspect of the show we got going on. But also, it's a
Yeah.
show about singing in some aspects, and we have a deaf Maya. So it's like, okay. Okay. That's all the comments we got there. Now, of course, you know that I have this whole section called Theta's Thoughts where I've written a bunch of shit out. But before we get there, do you have anything about the last episode or the last couple of episodes that you want to put out there?
Well, like I said, the first 3 episodes felt like a mini arc, right? Of the It's basically one story, and now in this episode we're gonna shift gears. We already got a little bit of a previews of what might happen. I'm not gonna go beyond that. But that's the thing. The previews actually spoiled quite a bit. Like
I mean, we've
they
been
really
Voyagered,
spoil.
right?
Yeah. Um, and um, and so I do. I mean, it's this is what I actually fell in love with this show, because in the past, when I was a kid and watching this back in the day, not the original version, mind you, the other version, which I will not speak of. The cool
HG
thing about it,
version.
yeah, the cool version. The thing about it was that this was not like GI Joe, like, oh, Cobra's over there and we're the good guys and they're the bad guys, and so we got to shoot each other and blast each other apart, right? It was, no, listen, we don't know what's going on here, right? We don't know the technology, etc. And it, as a kid, it was like, oh wow, this is treating me more like an adult, like I'm more intelligent. I mean, after a while, I think it's a little shallower than I thought it was back then, but it felt like, more grown up, right? the fact that they don't know what's going on, they don't know what the aliens are doing, what they want, and the aliens also don't know what's going on as well. It's like the aliens don't have like a perfect knowledge. Oh, we come to conquer Earth. It's like, no, we just what the hell is this ship doing here? Like, what? And these people have it, and what did they do with it? I guess we'll have to capture it. I don't know. We just figured it out, right? And see what happens. So yeah, I think that's fascinating.
I mean, it is a 90s anime, so
80s.
80s. Is it 80s? I thought it was
Yeah,
94.
80, 82, 83. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to make a bunch of comments I make during some of our Gundam reactions a bit nonsense. I think I've made references to different anime that I've watched throughout different eras during during a discussion that I had during Gundam's opening, OG Gundam. So, 79, comparing it to the 1963 Astro Boy that I had just gotten done watching, to the 79 Gundam, to the 80. Maybe I did say Macross was 80s. Then
Yeah.
what would have been my 90s reference? No, I'm pretty sure I thought Macross was in the 90s for some reason.
I mean, Macross or Macross Plus came out in
Yep, I
1991,
haven't seen that.
92, I think.
Remember, I haven't watched a
Yeah.
damn thing of Macross. This is first
Yeah.
touch.
Hmm.
Alright, well, whatever. Clearly, I've been mistaken for a number of recordings now.
It happens.
Alright, well, here's the stuff that I've written out during the last couple, or last week, rather. While I appreciate the interaction, and please keep it up, making comments that say no spoiler, and then trying to tell me about the aliens from the main show, the origin of the Macross, and the geopolitics of space are actually spoilers. Especially when we're only in the second episode of Zero when you're making the comments. Heck, all of that information would still be spoilers for me, as I've only just heard those words mentioned by the time of this recording. I guess treat this like a first time watching for your comments, if you could. Only refer to things that have happened on screen so far, not stuff yet to come or will have been tied into that.
Oh, I guess I'm also guilty of that.
Yeah, but
I
you're
guess it's
here.
the yeah, no, but I'm trying to provide context, right? But then that context is spoilery because that's kind of part of the mystery of the show that you have to discover these things, right? So I'm like,
You're in a chair where you're available to gaslight me on stuff, make me give me false expectations, do anything. So also, I don't trust people. So who the hell knows, right? You could say something entirely true, and I could just think, you're messing with me. Who
oh,
knows?
well.
So I had to put that out first for a couple of comments that I just stopped reading the moment after they said not spoilers, and I realized what was going on. It's funny that the control system and main gun worked just fine when they were signaled to, but the gravity control system just rips itself out of the ship when activated. I think the real humor of that scene is all the time spent confirming that the systems were ready to go. We didn't just see them activating it, but heard them going through some 30 checks to make sure that everything was ready to go. Then, I assume, the things ripped themselves out of their moorings, flew off into the air a short distance before returning out of power and fell down into the city full of friendly fire, you know, just to destroy some more buildings. But hey, the good news is, if I am right, that means they should still be there when the Macross folded the whole island to Pluto, so they could still get them back, probably.
I mean, yeah, but like I mentioned in the episode, I think they're trying to make the reference that these systems by themselves work fine, because the alien and the alien stuff works well with the alien stuff, but when the humans get involved, at least at this stage, they're like, well, we did our best. We don't know how it really works. Let's try it out, right? I mean, Captain Global, you hate the name,
Yeah, still hate the
uh,
name.
he later says, "Oh, we'll use the regular engines because those were built on Earth, and we make sure that they function, right?" So I think that's the point. Like they're like, "Oh, sure, we're gonna take off using the completely alien anti-gravity systems that we never used before." Did anybody actually moor those
Well, that's
properly?
why I went over how humorous it is to me that they went through 30 things of checklists to make sure that everything was working right. So it's not like hey, let's just turn on the alien tech. They
Yeah.
assumedly felt like they knew what they were doing. because they're contacting every like department head and like, hey, is everything going through? Yeah, we've gone through all the checklists. Everything seems good. You know, that's why it's funny. Not just because it ripped literally they flipped a switch and oh, there you go. We didn't tie down the hot air balloon before we filled it with helium or whatever.
And I think not all the systems were gone. I think where the forward ones were one, but apparently the back ones were still functioning. But the ship would have gone like this, so
Yeah,
they
they
had
they
to
tilted off
shift.
to the right, so I
Yeah,
mean, even
yeah,
that makes it even weirder based on what you just said.
yeah.
All right. Minmay says she forgot something and runs back into an active war zone in order to get it. The thing is so important that she doesn't say what it is when she forgets it, doesn't mention that's why she ran back into the city, nor brings it up ever again. I will say, though, despite a certain level of airheadedness about her, she certainly does roll with the punches. Dragged through the air in a robot's fist, and she looks annoyed about it. Dropped from above the clouds and last minute snatched before slamming into the ground, sheds a few tears, and then gets back to fixing her hair. She's pretty badass so far.
My take on her is more like she is a teenager who is pretty ditzy, right? So she's always living the moment. Like one moment she's scared, okay, that passes. Now what I'm going to do next, right? It's like she's always living in the present and never worry about the past or the future. It's like, I was screaming for my help. Okay, that's over. I got scared. I tried, and in fact, Hikaru says is like, wow, she just completely forgot about what it was, right?
I guess
You know,
my comparison here would be that to make her like a character of the Goonies, right? The Goonies, the girls that accompany them on the trip, go through quite a bit, and then there's just one step too far, and they break down and cry, and like I don't want to go any further. Well, I feel like if you took those characters and put her in Minmay's position, they would not stop crying.
I
Minmay,
think most
Minmay
people would
breaks
have.
down a little bit, and she's like, "All right, I'm back." you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's my take on her.
Well, of course, because
Just an
you know what she
interpretation, of
turns
course.
into. I have only this. Uh, I think it's funny that Misa is. Sorry, I don't remember. I'm saying her name right. I'm just reading it now, and I can't remember her name being said.
Misa Hayase, I
Yeah,
believe it
so I
is.
am okay. I think it's funny that Misa is irregularly good at her job, by which I mean she had the foresight to call in the search helicopters without being asked, but then still lacked the notice to read her own displays that would be telling her that VT-102 had no assigned pilot. At the same time, though, I think we covered during Zero that the world's supply of skilled people was run low by the last Great War. I think that really shows that when Misa makes a mistake and Shammy and Vanessa look at each other and give a half-hearted "Oh no."
Yeah, it also can be, and this is one thing that I did notice, and you probably noticed, is that a lot of some of the writing, some of the acting is, to fit the plot, right? One moment she's very smart, and one moment one character is very smart and says something, oh, we're gonna have to do this. Like, oh, that makes sense. And the next day, we're like, oops, we forgot we ever said anything, because we need this to happen. Like with Lynn Minmay, right? She goes back because we need the whole set up the whole sequence where Hikaru rescues her, right? Like otherwise, you know, it's not important what she's gonna get back. What's important from the plot point of view is that she goes back
Well, I think that's
so
why
that she
it,
gets rescued.
it works for me that we watched Zero first, because I can take those comments about the unification war just wearing down all the skilled people and just put it into context here of, well, maybe she's like Vinny from My Cousin Vinny that took like 11 times to pass the bar. She's she's good when she's there, but there's a reason why she's like held back enough that she's one of the last people to be able to be in her position. Which is the concept of it that works for me, I guess. Alright. Kind of funny that the Valkyrie's hands have smaller hands that come out of them so that the mech can do precision work. Which, thinking about it, actually made me remember that I've seen a Gundam ripoff of the Macross Valkyrie. I'm sure there's more than but it's the only one that I've come across so far. In the Gundam sorry, choking a little bit there. In the Gundam OOF manga, there is a Gundam called the Abhul, which is basically a Valkyrie without any arms, and a Gundam head in the space behind where the cockpit would be on a Valkyrie.
Yeah, I mean,
It turns into a jet is its whole thing.
yeah.
It's a
In fact, I
shitty
think
Gundam.
a couple of newer Gundams have been more transformable of late. Uh, Zero had a lot of them, and some others had some as well. So
Well, I remember specifically reading OOF and thinking this is a shit Gundam. It doesn't do anything but turn into a jet. At which point I'm thinking, why not just be a jet? We have jets in Gundam.
and starfighters and all that. So
Yeah, it just came to me while I'm just doing my breakdown of the Valkyrie, and I'm like, I've seen this before. This is reminding me of something. I'm sure there's like a ton of other Gundams that just do the same thing.
yeah.
Looks like the Macross has a complement of 20 Valkyries, 7 of which seem to have been downed in their first combat with the aliens, without counting Hiriko's. Sorry, saying his name wrong. I don't know why I always have a habit with Japanese names to want to say an HIR when it's an HIK. Without counting Hikaru's lost Valkyrie, so now we only have 12 left.
Well, it's kind of weird because you have the aircraft carriers.
Got
By the
destroyed,
way,
remember?
no, they're
Last
still there.
2 episodes ago, they got destroyed.
No,
They go to
not the
dock.
space carriers. I'm talking about the carriers that were on the island.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the
Yeah, and that that
not the Armored One, which had been
no,
destroyed twice now.
yeah. First, punch you full of holes and then blown up.
I
So
super
there's
appreciate, by the way. Sorry, before you get your point, that they confirmed that it was destroyed, and then it got tried to dock with them anyway in the same episode.
and they had there was a carrier there plus a Macross plus whatever aircraft they were on display. So there could be more.
Well, I was
Uh,
going by Misa's display when Misa is recording how many pilots have landed back again.
yeah,
There is a
okay,
display of a number of them, and some of them are red, and the ones that are red stay red by the time she says, "Okay, all pilots have returned."
yeah.
So
So
that's where
that
that counts
yeah,
from.
yeah.
So if
Well,
you're
again,
saying they
yeah,
pick up some from the ship, then I guess we're gonna find out if anyone's alive on the ship still or not. It was a debate that we had last time.
yeah.
All right, my last thought here. Starting to feel like the Macross is a giant hunk of junk that was repaired by the cheapest contractor possible.
Hmm.
The flying system ripped itself out of the ship on first use, and likewise the fold system got out of there on their first use as well. All the alien tech on the ship is abandoning ship as fast as possible.
Okay, there's a joke in military circles where civilians, when they hear the term military grade, they go like, "Wow," and people who are in uniform, they go military grade, and they go like, shit," because it is often to the lowest bidder that goes into it. Although this is supposed to be a global program that built up the ship, is one of the reasons why we have the unification wars because supposed to unified around the idea, oh, there's aliens and we need to prepare for them, right? And therefore there's the anti-unification war and all that, right? But yeah, I wouldn't be so. I mean, again, I my take on it is that I don't care if it was Skunk Works or whatever who made it. They are just experimenting with technology they don't truly understand,
Yeah,
and I guess that's the point.
I just thought it was funny that at the end of last episode they go, the whole full drive is gone, and it's like that's the second damn piece of alien tech that's left behind, right? It's like
Yeah.
all this alien tech is abandoning ship. Literally,
Yep.
our anti-grav system ripped itself out to get away. All right. Well, let's see. Next up, we got the recap of last episode. Space Fold. The captain of the Macross is forced to make a quick decision due to the relentless attacks of the enemy. Using alien technology, the Macross makes a space fold near the Earth's surface, about above. Sorry, I've never said this word before. South Ataria? Is that where they were?
Yeah.
South
Yeah. It's
Ataria
South
Island.
Island. Yeah. the city is called Macross, but the island is South Atari. I think actually it's an actual island, not the one described here. You know, the name is borrowed from a real island.
Well, in all the rewatching, I don't think I've ever. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to when they said the
Yeah,
location of where they were. Because I think if I had heard it, I would have tried to look it up, and I don't have a note here of trying to look it up.
yeah.
But yeah, that's about all before we get started. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm looking forward to this episode because it's a change of pace. Definitely. See if you
Right, we're
like
in
it and what
deep
you like about it.
space,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
the aliens don't know where we are yet
mhm,
because they haven't located us.
yeah.
Right? Oh, I guess my only final thought. I didn't write it down, but it only occurred to me at some time later. I'm wondering, expectation wise, I guess, if there's not like a city full of like. Did you watch Babylon 5?
Yes.
You know, Down Below. I'm thinking, is Macross gonna be like Down Below, where Hikaru and Minmay are wandering through? There's gonna be just a bunch of random people who have been like stowed away in Macross.
Well, I mean, the implication is that the city that grows around the ship started with just workers, right? The workers came in to fix the ship. They brought their families. So everything, like living around a military base, especially in the United States, where the economy is all around the base, right? So as long as the base is very active, you don't have that level of poverty that would create a complete underclass. I mean, you still have poor people, of course. I mean, that's not
Dude
saying
gets a little bit too drunk while he's working, gets fired for something he does on the job. Now he's
yeah.
stuck here on this island. He just, it's like, fuck it, they ain't gonna notice me if I just start living in this thing because I can't afford the place I was living at before. You know, down below.
It can happen, yeah. But I don't think there being enough time to people to sneak into the ship
I mean, that's
and create an
so
entire.
fucking big. I don't even...
Yeah.
Alright, well, before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all of that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. Just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I could have sworn somewhere here in the opening there was like a trademark symbol. It said 1994. Would have been right there if I thought.
Hmm.
Like, because, it's usually right there next to the title.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing that stands out to me is macro sky. It's a weird way to describe the sky. Because, just means big sky.
I
Weird.
always like this takeoff sequence because it's very well Top Gun, carrier carrier launching sequence.
Yeah, but it's a show full of fighter jets. So you're going to be
Yeah.
seeing lots of takeoff sequences. So, essentially, let's put the thing that happens the most in our show in the opening.
Mhm.
So they'll see it every time. I was being flippant, but that does make good marketing sense.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
It's
you
like the
do that?
sequence from Battlestar Galactica that you always saw, fighters being.
I'll be honest, I watched the entire 80s version of Battlestar Galactica, and I do not remember the opening at all. I must have skipped it every
Actually,
time after the
no,
first.
the original Battlestar Galactica was in the 70s. Um,
Well,
it got rerun.
here's my problem: is
Yeah.
I at the moment remember the last episode more than anything, plus the Battlestar Galactica reaches Earth. That shitty version.
That's Battlestar Galactica 1980, but it still was 1990. Yeah.
Might be why I'm remembering that one then, because it's literally in the name.
Yeah.
シェルターを最優先に引き入れろ。中には町の住民が避難しているんだ。
I'd be a bit more concerned about that air leaks in every block comment that I saw.
Well, that answers the question of the carriers anybody survive.
Sorry, I missed it for the 2 layers of text. What'd they say?
Yeah. They're trying to contact them, but they're getting any answers from the carrier. So, you know.
Well, I think your
But they're-
argument was people below deck might be alive, and I think I said
Yeah.
but anybody on the bridge is probably dead.
Yeah, and also they were talking about how they were going to get the people off the shelters, right?
Well, no, they said that they were already loading people from the shelters, and I said
Yeah.
the Macross is clearly not built to dock with the shelter opening, so I don't know how that's happening. The off chance this is somebody's first time watching us do this. Don't worry, I watch these episodes twice. Because surely the ship has communications panels all over the place, right? Yeah, I just assumed that his aircraft wasn't working anymore. They crashed it through the door thing coming down. Which actually doesn't seem that helpful. Well, for one, the thing doesn't work, but also there's walls. You turn corners and shit. There's always gonna be walls between you and the racer.
I think it maybe records steps, maybe? I don't know.
Why did we keep a room full of trash?
Spare parts, probably.
Or it's where the anti-grav unit ripped itself out of. However, then that room would be open to space, so obviously not.
Also, his major Fokker, oh, 50,000 civilians.
I don't remember what his rank was in Zero, so.
Which is weird because these are supposed to be a naval service, UN Spacey. He could be a Marine, but we're never told that even in Zero. So.
Yeah, if the show was more concerned about ranks, like, say, Legends of the Galactic Heroes and everything like that, it's something I would have looked up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pet peeve of mine, basically.
Yeah, it's not even in consideration for me. Not unless they call him by a different rank next episode.
Look at the size of the doors. You were talking about how they knew they were speculating that they were giants. It's because stuff like this. Like the controls are huge.
Yeah, but I don't know. Even that wouldn't tell me anything. Literally, the ship is so fucking big, I would just think, oh, they're made for, like, trucks to go through and whatnot. Especially with no corpses on the ship beforehand. Shouldn't be a surprise. You were in space a second ago. That's what I'm saying. They don't take things very seriously, this command crew.
I mean, they're taking a break. They seem to be working pretty hard.
I would still be heavily focused on the fact that somebody in the background said, we've got air leaks on every deck. You are the people that know you're in orbit of Pluto right now. Or in Pluto's orbit, rather.
Oh, still working.
も大丈夫だけど喉がカラカラ。
水か。食い物ならレーサーに戻れば少しはあるんだけど。
Yeah, I'm just thinking, literally, you already know where water is.
水が飲めるかもしれないよ。ちょっと待ってて。準備
I literally thought he was
OK。
going back to get something to hold the water in. Because otherwise, this should be steam, right? Well, if it's hot to the touch, it's gotta be steam.
あれ。
They also said she's pretty badass. A damsel in distress would help out.
Yeah.
What was that for?
美味しい。気持ちいい。そうだ、私シャワー浴びよう。
え、今ここで？
そうよ、体中汗かいちゃったもん。
He's like, okay.
あっち行ってた方がいいかな。
嬉しいわ。気を使っていただいて。ついでにその辺についたてでもこしらえてくれるとありがたいんだけど。
はいはい。
She's ordering around like, you give me a screen now. Oh,
これでいい
Still
he's
that,
strong.
that pipe was burning hot to the touch a second ago, and now it's highly comfortable water.
みんな。あれ。
じゃあ
Your hero.
Of course, we got the shower scene.
からかいすぎたかな。光る
Yeah, but nothing I have to block, so I'm satisfied.
光る、どうしたの？怒ったの？光る、返事して。
俺の作業着が見つかったよ。よかったらそれに着替えたら。
さっぱりしたわ。
Dude, you should also take a shower while you're at it. You know, when she gets out, you can go in.
Well, conceivably, he's just now wearing drenched clothes, too.
服ダボダボ。
Yeah.
Even if he didn't change or anything else. Well,
一つ食べないか？
he went and got other clothes. Conceivably, he had another outfit in there.
おお、うまい、うまい。
These are the sounds of a normal human person eating.
平気
Yes.
平気。明日は出口が見つかるって。
もし見つかんなかったら？
たかだか1キロぐらいの船の中だ。平気だと思うよ。
でもさっきもあんなに歩いてとうとうダメだったじゃない。
だから明日はちゃんと地図を作ってだね。俺食欲なくなっちゃった。
いじけた？
誰が？
She's cute, but I don't think she's winning over Sarah so far.
本当。
No.
先輩に呼ばれて
Constantly gonna be having that in my head every season. What's the best pairing? And are they beating Sarah and Shin?
おばさんたちどうしたかな？
シェルターに逃げてれば大丈夫と思うよ。
そうね。兵隊さんたちが守ってくれてるわね。
兵隊さんたちか。ちょっとこれまずいんじゃない？こんなとこで寝ると。
I wouldn't mind it
風邪ひい
if
ちゃ
the
うぞ。
next like 10 or so episodes, oh, rats, was just these two wandering around the ship while everybody else deals with like the big stuff.
ちょっと待てよ、あれはネズミが。だから言ったろ。
Yeah.
船なんだから人間よりよほど先に住み着いてんのさ。
私ネズミ苦手なの。早く追っ払って。
ひょっとするとあれはネズミたちのお家だったんじゃないかな。
Oh, so the female lead of the show
ネズミ
doesn't
たち
like
と明日
nature.
訳を話してベッドを分けても
Oh,
らえます
doesn't
か。
like rats.
That's a part of nature. Look, Sarah was defending bugs. She can't save rats.
Yeah.
And so while I'm being all judgy and everything, I haven't even heard her sing yet.
Oh yeah, that's gonna take a while.
これがここいん
Yeah, he must have changed to a secondary uniform since we just saw his drying
今
out.
日で漂流生活2日目の印。いい
Cool, but don't carve into my ship.
アイデアでしょ。
ああじゃあ行ってくる
いってらっしゃい。
人の大事なレーサーを
Yep. Not that it looks all that great right now, since it did run into a wall earlier. Also, your point to the doors before just occurred to me. Due to his bumping his head, Captain Global bumping his head into the bridge command deck.
Yeah.
That the bridge is not made for giants.
やだ。あそこはおばさんち。
I mean, it could have. It seems that it was remade by the humans.
じゃあ
So
君の家
remember.
は
横浜中華街でレストランやってるの。はい。
Every major city's gotta have a Chinatown.
中華料理屋の
Yeah. I mean, she is coded as Chinese. Her aunt and uncle are Chinese, and
Right, but
she's-
she
they
lives
were-
in the city that you've called Macross already.
持って
yeah. So
And
they
she
had a
said she's from
Chinatown.
Chinatown, yeah.
お母さん。
Yeah.
Is this still the same night? Or did no, it's like six,
Yeah,
7
yeah,
days.
running out
Yeah,
of
I'm
food.
bad at
Yeah.
counting for some reason. I thought they would have tried to wander the ship.
I think that's what he's doing. She's staying behind, and he's the one doing the mapping.
絶対
But
のことだよ
そう。食料もこれが最後よ。
外へ出て助けを呼ぼう
外？
エアロックから宇宙に出て別のエアロックから艦内に入るのさ
でも宇宙服もないのに。
このヘルメットは戦闘用のやつだから機密性が高い補強すればなんとかなると思うよ
でも。
So 2 dumb people
この
got
パイロットスー
themselves
ツと
killed
組み合わせ
today.
は少しくらいなら持つと思うんだ
でも。
これでスイッチ操作のやり方分かった
うん。でも空気はどうするの？酸素
I'm
ボンベ
thinking
がない
every
の
time
に。
Star-Lord just jumped out into space and almost froze to
息
death.
止めていくの？
Guardians of the
海へ潜
Galaxy.
ると思えば変わらないだろ
どこ行くの？
it's not a horrible idea, but it is extremely dangerous nonetheless.
I mean, I understand that he's tied up all the ends of his suit so he doesn't, like, leak oxygen out. The hell? Oh, never mind.
I
There was
mean,
a
the-
giant tuna truck outside, too, yeah.
マグロかな？あれ。
yeah, but I think that came from the ocean, not from the tuna truck. Entire truck to just one tuna. That would
Well,
be
no,
silly.
no, I mean, I'm indicating that it was probably transporting tuna. Come on, man, your nose is sticking out.
頑張ってね。
The point I was going to make before is that we know his outfit can get cold because he felt cold when the water hit him, which means it's very bad at maintaining his heat
Yeah.
or keeping his heat in.
Or there's radiation.
More than that, his nose was sticking out, which means whatever that represents. I like the representation of gravity starts here.
よいしょ。
I'm gonna give it the leeway of being an anime for him not needing serious medical attention right now.
これで当分食い物には
Oh.
あ
そんなにがっかりしなく
To
て
be
も
fair,
い
that
い
is
じゃ
some
ない。
people's favorite
宇
part.
宙でマグロを釣った人なんてめったにいないわよ。
あでも二度と宇宙には出られなくなっちまったマグロの下敷きになった時こいつの歯に引っかかっちゃったんだ
Yes, that was the
これ
problem
で船の
before.
外から救助を求める作戦はおじゃんだ
ね、天井に穴開けて上行くっていうのは？
それも考えたよでもあの丈夫な鉄板を開ける機械がどこにあると思う
爆破はどうかしら？
レーサーのロケット燃料はほとんど使っちまったし
何？
そい
I mean, also, you don't know exactly where you are in the ship. You able to blow up something that might be also explosive or near the outside.
あ
りがとう。
I feel like these were just all things that were marketed, right?
どうするんだってな。
Yeah.
Buy our cups,
Probably.
buy our dinner trays.
なんとか落ち着いて避難民キャンプを作り始めたそうよ。
避難民キャン
Buy our salt sugar packets. Again, these people are very nonchalant about the situation that they're in.
女の子を口説くんだって。
I'd be asking, how much air do we have left? How much food do we have left? How long till we need to ration?
True.
How long until all these refugees are eating up all of our air supplies?
Wow. 2 weeks. There's your singing.
Which means it's been also just only 7 days since the last time we were here. She's singing about Cinderella.
いい声してるんだ
Pretty
ね
much.
これでも中学の頃は歌のレッスンしてたのよ。それに
I also thought you said quite a while until she
い
started
ろいろやって
singing.
たんだ。僕なんかずーっと飛行機だけさ。
あら素敵じゃない。一つのことに打ち込めるって。
そうかい？で、オタクは結局何になりたいの？
私そうね。やっぱりお嫁さんかな。
お嫁さん？そうか。君ならきっといいお嫁さんになれるよ。
ありがとう。でももうおしまいね。
そんなことないって。先輩たちがきっと探し出してく
I
れ
mean,
るよ
I'd。say it's weird, but I've heard people have that conversation
私たち
before
なんか
in real
とっ
life,
くに死んだ
so
と思われてるわ。
some people just aspire to the one thing. Also, you really aren't starving. You've got rats all over the place.
Well, they're not planning to eat the rats.
Well,
Yet.
私たちが死んだらネズミのいい餌ね。きっとあのマグロみたいに。
そんなこと言うもんじゃないよ。
いいのよ。でもせめて死ぬ前に一度でいいから花嫁衣装が着たかったな。
任命。結婚式でもやりますか。
そうね。それもいいわね。
are they going to get found before this happens? Or did your boy just get married on like episode 4 of the show?
僕なんかの相手でいいの？
ねえヒカル。どうせ死ぬならこのまま一思いに外に飛び出しましょう。
That's not what I expected.
急に。
一緒に死のう。
Neither did he.
To be honest, given this is anime, I expected a you don't want to die a virgin, do you?
使ったじゃないか。今度も絶対助かるって。
だってそんなこと言ったって出口一つ見つけられないじゃない。どうせ死ぬのが怖いんでしょ。育児なし。
自分でも情けないよな。
How about this? One of us has already been out in space.
ない人間で。だけど僕君のことをごめん。
そんな意味でどうかしてた私。
And the music is just with the violins.
I feel like the music is from a generation in the past. Like old Disney movie violin.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Oh.
早く処理しないと危険だぞこりゃ。あれミンミーちゃんやないか。
Hey, it's the mayor. Yeah. Starting to think maybe I need to put the mayor on the board. Keep thinking he doesn't have a name, and no named characters don't get put on the board. Did you build a fucking city in here?
なんで そんな宇宙船の中に。
わあ素敵。お店もよっちゃんちもそのまま。
And you're telling me people couldn't just sneak into this place and live here? They've actively been building a human city here.
I mean, this mayor is pretty nifty. I mean, he led them to build an entire city inside the ship.
On somebody else's dime, yeah.
ただいまの攻撃は敵の小型艦1隻による偶発的なものでした。敵艦はバルキリー戦闘機体の迎撃により撃沈。我が方は損傷警備。空襲警報は解除されました。以上。
悪夢だ。
Not even paying attention. Kind of feels like that generation ship issue in sci-fi where people just don't even realize anymore that they're in space.
艦内の佇まいにもショックを受けたが、ヒカルにとって信じられないことは民名の態度の急変であった。リン・ミンメイ、一体どんな子なのであろ
She's
う。
a badass. Look, I understand she was fully committed to the dual suicide thing, but
Yeah.
冥王星空間より地球へ向けて帰還の途についた。マクロス艦内に復元された街並み、そして民名の変身の速さに戸惑うヒカル。敵艦隊の偵察艦がマクロスを探知した。フォールドシステムの破壊で生じた隙を埋めようとする給与の策は功を奏するか。次回、超時空要塞
it gets destroyed a third time. That is clearly the Armored One again.
Yeah, I think they're just reusing.
Yes,
And this
the
ends.
implication. Now, I'm gonna have some sort of counter going on here. How many times does the Armored One get destroyed?
Yeah.
You know, Minmay is a badass. Understandably, she does the whole, hey, we should kill ourselves thing, which is weird, but she is basically telling him what to do. She has a commanding presence. Did not quite expect the, hey, let's get married before we die thing, but it has been 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a whirlwind romance, except not really, I guess, because they're hanging out and they talk to each other, but you don't really see a lot of like physical attraction.
I mean,
or
you
anything
get a
like
little
that.
bit. You get the sexual
Yeah.
tension at the shower thing. Then you get the snuggling up because my bed is full of rats part. You know, where she
Yeah.
falls asleep on his shoulder. I think the problem is you just don't get much after that.
Yeah.
That's the start, you know, but then they just show you, hey, it's been 7 more days by the carving thing, so I like the fact that, hey, you didn't notice it, but we just got attacked and we won. That's where the missile came from. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I guess I like the fact that this thing is so fucking big that 1, we can have a city on the inside, and 2, we can be under attack all the time. You just fucking wouldn't notice. We're too big.
I mean, I think people don't understand. It's like Hikaru says, it's a kilometer long. Yeah, but a kilometer on the ground, it's short distance, right? Or you're flying a plane. But when you have a kilometer long ship, the volume of it, unless it's like paper thin, it's gonna be huge.
Well, we already covered it. It's only slightly smaller than an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Like, what? Spear Side Story has like 25,000 troops and
Well, I mean,
AT-ATs and TIE fighters and all that kind of thing.
thankfully, due to the newer movies where Star Destroyers just like fucking hang out over top of cities and everything, you can really get a scale. The characters are like
Yeah.
standing around at like a marketplace, and they fucking look up, and you know, there's a Star Destroyer above them. So it's easier to tell scale thanks to, I guess, time and Disney. But yeah, no, I mean, this is an alright episode. I appreciate that we got to meet the characters a little bit more. Slightly more confused by why Hikaru is your hero, but whatever. Because so far he's just been pretty dumb, and I guess I can't think of the word. Dumb isn't the word I want to use, but it's funny to say. He is like an 80s movie jock in a horror movie.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, well, he's not that dumb. He actually figured out how to get the tuna.
Yeah, dumb isn't.
That,
That's not what I mean to imply.
yeah.
He's like, he's a bro, but not really that. There's a bunch of little concepts here I'm trying to put together.
He's a teenager. I mean, the thing is that he's a teenager, and she's a teenager, and their knowledge of the world is very limited, right?
He's using
also
confidence to compensate for what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Which is everything, apparently, because he literally just came, as we found out before, from the circus.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he's compensating. He doesn't know much. And he actually says, it's like, I'm just a dumb pilot, you know, that's what. And she's like, well, that's a good thing. You know how to be a good pilot. And it's like, yeah, but, you know. And I think he's also trying to compensate for, like, his senpai, which is Fokker. No, he's an older man.
Don't blame all this on Fokker. Fokker's been through a lot all these years. We know his complicated backstory.
I know, but I'm not blaming Fokker. I'm blaming Hikaru's vision of him. Right? That if he were more like him, he would know all this stuff, right?
I don't even know where to go with that, his vision of Fokker, because Fokker apparently at some point before... Did Fokker decide I want to do aerial showmanship for the circus before or after giving up his historical career as apparently an anthropology major or whatever he was?
It could have been basically a summer job or something, you know.
Because at some point in his history, he goes from showmanship at the circus to studying history in college to then getting on a train and joining the military. Fokker has a whirlwind of life. I do not know how you chose this guy over Fokker. Granted, when you were watching this as a kid, Fokker's zero past wasn't the thing, so understandable.
Yeah.
And I guess most kids don't align with the adult in the room when they're watching a show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how old were you when you were watching this?
Wow, I was 6 or 7, 8, maybe 8 as much. And I was a little kid, yeah.
And this is the I was gonna say, and this is the show that got you, but then I remembered I told you that I watched Galaxy Express 999 as one of my favorite ones, and I watched such a slow movie itself that this is a whirlwind by comparison.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watched earlier anime, like giant robot anime, like Messenger and Z, or used to go Battle of the Planets, which is Gatchaman, stuff like that. But this, in a way, it was different because those were it's a very big heroic robot that just punches the evil robot in the face, right? Voltron and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, those are all super robot as well. Versus, I think Macross is supposed to be real robot.
Exactly. So I think that was really the change.
Well, I mean that, and if you wanted to be a pilot, then comparing yourself to a super robot anime where they're just, it's not comparable.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I have thoughts, but I just can't seem to get them out. So I think we're just going to roll this into the next episode. Well, you got anything else left in the bank?
That's about it.
All right, well, this has been the 4th episode of SDF Macross. I'm Theta, this is The Lessons. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?